Everyone talks about closure these days as if it's a magical conversation that happens at the end of a relationship. But let's be honest, most people are not seeking closure. They're actually seeking validation from that one person who hurt them. You just want to have a last attempt to hear from that person and for them to acknowledge the pain that they caused you. And in all honesty, closure is not something they give you, it is something you give yourself. And in this video, I really want to break open the concept of getting closure and how can you actually get it from yourself instead of depending on the person who hurt you. So, if you're new here, I'm Vesh and I'm a men's coach and I help men heal with their traumas, attachment issues, and wounded masculinity in order for them to pursue meaningful connection with women. Now, if you are someone who is battling traumas, abandonment issues, or even if you want to work on your attachment styles like anxious or avoidant and your self worth and self esteem, you can reach out to me through Instagram. DM me the keyword coach, where I know you are reaching out to book a one on one consultation with me, where we would be doing modalities like inner child work, hypnotherapy to actually rewire your subconscious mind to eliminate these traumas and patterns that God created from your childhood and teenage years to bring about a permanent change in your adult personality. So, without any further ado, let's get into the video. The first thing that I want to talk about is the illusion of getting closure from someone else. A part of us always wants closure once the relationship ends, and we think that closure is actually about hearing back from the other person as to why they caused us pain, why they left us. But rarely does that last conversation actually brings you comfort. But what it does is it reopens your wounds, it cracks you open one more time, and it reminds you everything that happened all over again. Because deep down, you are not seeking closure. You're actually seeking comfort. You just want someone to see your pain. But often, when a relationship ends, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to be the source of your own comfort. A relationship hurts when we think that the person that we valued so much left us, or it did not work out, or we won't find anyone better than them, or you love them so much and they didn't care for you. Most of the times, it's because maybe the relationship was kind of one sided, where one person was putting in more effort and someone pulled away, or you decided to step back for your own benefit. But that doesn't make the pain any less. No matter how the relationship ends, the pain is there, and it's one of the most brutal pain that you can actually go through. I heard this quote which says that, the end of a relationship is equivalent to death. When you die, you lose your past, you lose your present, and you lose your future. And that is exactly what a breakup is all about. You lose all the past memories that you made, you lose the future dreams that you had with this person. And in the present moment, you are very lost because you don't know what you should do without this person, and you feel that you want to have that one last conversation with them to let them know how they hurt you. But that conversation is not going to bring you peace. The only way peace can come to you after a breakup is when you validate your pain, when you hold space for yourself because there's no one else to do that for you. And oftentimes, closure is you wanting to get something from that person that you already wanted in the relationship and you did not get, which is love, understanding, and appreciation. The person who did not value you is not going to just value you after the breakup. They might realize your value probably 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line, but you shouldn't even care if they do that or not, because in a way you're still seeking external validation in this case. And to be honest, what people call closure is actually known as validation, where hearing back from them how they regret losing you is going to make your ego feel good, is going to validate the pain that you're going through. But that is a very false trap. It's not going to make you feel any better, even if this person comes up and admits that they regret losing you, because at the end of the day, it still doesn't diminish the pain that you went through post that breakup. Your ego is trying to win here, where you see the other person suffering when you're trying to make them realize what they lost, or when you want to see them regret their actions. And this is your wounded ego seeking their validation. Because, truth be told, seeking closure is not about making them realize what your value is. It is actually you not letting their blindness and absence define your value. And the third thing I want to talk about is closure actually means owning your story. Yes, you got hurt. Maybe you got betrayed. Maybe you got rejected. Maybe you got abandoned. But if you don't own up your story, who is going to do that for you? And the biggest thing is acknowledging the pain that you went through. A lot of people go into this mode of numbing their pain, distracting themselves by engaging in habits that is not good for them for temporary relief and gratification. But when you do this, right, you're actually pushing that relationship trauma deep into your subconscious. You're distracting yourself. You feel that you're resolving it, but it just goes deep into your subconscious. And when do these wounds surface once again? When you get into a connection with someone new and these old insecurities from the past breakup that you have not processed starts coming up for it to be processed. And if you have a second breakup after that, your entire world would actually come crashing down because you're losing yourself more and more with every single heartbreak that you go through. But on the flip side, even if you have breakups, you process through that. You do not escape from that pain. You sit with that. You feel that pain out. Trust me, you are emptying that emotional bank stored in your subconscious. And every time you come out stronger from the breakup as a better man, with a better vision, with a great amount of self love for yourself, and you feel proud of the man you are becoming who owned up your story. And here are some wrong ways that we actually chase closure. Stalking our ex. That is literally one of the most self-torturing act that you can engage in post your breakup, because you are showing yourself once again that this person is better than me. If someone is stalking someone, they subconsciously think that, oh, that person is better. And you feel your ex is better, you feel your ex is happier, you feel your ex is moved on. And that is why it hurts your ego and you're trying to validate, okay, has she really moved on or not? But when you're doing that, you're just engaging in an act of disrespecting yourself, of dishonoring and invalidating the pain that you're going through. Because there's no point in stalking someone, it's just going to trigger you more, going to add up to your own wounds. Block that person once and for all and erase their existence from your entire reality. There's no need to actually check upon them because there's literally nothing good that can come out of that. And stop texting them, stop chasing them. Please have some self respect and don't go telling them as to how they caused you pain, as to how you are suffering because of them, as to how one day they're going to regret it and see your value. Come on, do yourself a favor and be better than that. A man who is disrespected is often someone who does not respect himself. And if you want to minimize the disrespect caused post the breakup, you have to learn how to respect yourself by not chasing the person who abandoned you in the very first place. And another way people get closure is this whole new thing where you hook up one last time. That is also a very degrading act that you can do to yourself, because that hookup is not going to bring you any closure. If you truly love this person, it's going to make the whole moving on process even harder. As I said, you should remove all triggers from your environment whatsoever, and you should not even be in a position where you're reminded of this person ever again. You only need to focus on your pain, your healing, you processing all your emotions. But at the same time, that person should be absent from your reality, from your social media, from your life. And I've had some comments from you guys where you are actually texting me saying that your ex is in the same workplace or your ex is in the same class that you are in. And I know that's very hard to get over, because the universe, let's say, has put you in the fire to ensure that you learn to get out of that, from that very environment. And let me tell you one thing, if you're able to get over her when you are meeting her every single day, trust me, you can get over anything in your life. If you can overcome this challenge, you are going to become a man that is unstoppable. You have to literally ignore her existence. You have to literally Pretend as if she doesn't even exist in your reality. Even if she comes to you to speak to you one last time, which she will once you start moving on mentally, you do not even engage in a conversation with her. That's an act of self love when you do not engage in a conversation and you do not reopen the loops with the person who hurt you in the very first place. And let's talk about the real path to closure. The only closure you need is from yourself. You don't need anything from the other person, because if there was someone who was worthy of giving you that, you would be in a relationship with them, because they have the emotional intelligence and they actually did love you enough to give you those last words with care and affection and a genuine apology. But if they have not done that so far, then that just shows their value and their morals. And you can't chase closure from someone like that. So the only thing you should be doing is validating your own pain and giving yourself the closure. So closure is not the last conversation you have with them. Closure is you telling yourself, this is what I went through. I don't need to hear anything from anyone to know and accept my own story. I don't need words from the person who hurt me to validate my own pain, because I know what I'm going through. I know how I'm struggling. And that is all that is required for me, for me to acknowledge my own pain. And it's reminding yourself that your worth does not decrease because someone else did not see you, because someone else was blinded to your presence. Your worth does not depend on anyone's absence or anyone's presence. Their behavior was a reflection of their values. It is not a reflection of your worth. And this is something you have to remind yourself every single day when you're going through that process of heartbreak, getting over someone, and moving on once and for all. And it's about you rewriting the story and telling yourself they did not leave because I'm not enough. They left because somewhere they were having their own inner battles. Sometimes maybe their trauma acted up and they did not feel worthy of receiving their love. People who self sabotage a relationship are the ones who do not feel worthy of receiving safe love because they have never gotten safe love. And I have seen this with a lot of people. People who ruin their relationships with someone who's actually giving them a lot of love are the ones who do not value it because they don't unconsciously believe they are worthy of that love. So it was never your fault. And this is the whole process of giving yourself closure and rewriting the story. And that's the thing, right? You don't need their permission to move on. You don't need their permission to heal. You only need your permission to acknowledge your pain and build a life forward from here by learning the lessons that this relationship taught you, and to do in your best capacity to not repeat these same mistakes once again, because you have to heal those patterns that even attracted this very person to your life in the very first place. Once you learn your mistakes, then it is your fault if you repeat the very same thing with someone else. Do not get into the trap of attracting similar kind of people because you are not healing your patterns within yourself. And even if they're a bad person, remember one thing: only two people in the same frequency can attract each other. And it's not that you both are similar kind of people, but you have complementary traits, complementary trauma. For example, a narcissist can only attract someone who has people pleasing habits because they are a perfect puzzle piece that fit into each other, which will be very volcanic. And this is because both the people are wounded, but it's not that they're same in their personalities, but they have complementary personalities that fit into each other. So learn your lesson from this breakup and ensure that you never repeat this in your life ever again. And I promise you, there will come a day where you move on from this whole thing as if it was the best thing that happened to you. You would move on from it thinking that, thank God this relationship did not work out because I deserve someone better than this person. So I hope this episode was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.